Max Holloway has made his intentions crystal clear heading into his fight with Charles Oliveira, and it ends with a finish. During a recent sit-down with Daniel Cormier, Max gave Oliveira full credit for his elite ground game, but made one thing plain: this is MMA, not a jiu-jitsu competition. Holloway believes that when you look at the full picture, he's the better fighter overall. He pointed to his iron chin, his relentless output, and his track record of keeping top-level grapplers on the feet as his biggest advantages. Oliveira holds the all-time UFC record for submission finishes with 16, but he's also shown vulnerability when opponents force him to stand and trade, which is exactly where Holloway is most dangerous. That's the blueprint Max is building around, and he's banking on it working on fight night. Meanwhile, Arman Tsarukyan weighed in with his own prediction for the Holloway-Oliveira matchup, and he kept it simple. Give him the first 2 minutes, and he'll tell you who wins. Tsarukyan's point was that Oliveira is one of the most unpredictable fighters on the roster. On his best nights, he looks unstoppable. On his worst, he can look out of sorts, and it often comes down to how those opening exchanges go. He leaned toward Oliveira coming out on top, but only if the Brazilian comes out sharp and gets a hold of the fight early. Otherwise, he left it wide open. With both men carrying serious credibility in the lightweight division, Oliveira fresh off brutal wars and Holloway riding a wave of respect from fans and fighters alike, the chatter around this fight isn't slowing down. Let's hear what Arman had to say.
I think Charles, so some fights he fights very well, sometimes he fights bad. Depends how it's gonna look like. I'm gonna tell like from 1 or 2 minutes. He's gone with last fight. He was with Gamrot. He looked so good.
He looked amazing.
He just destroyed him like so easy and choked him out in the second round. And
he looked a different league to Gamrot on the ground. He did whatever he wanted.
He's Gamrot, he's a grappler too, and like he choked him out like so easy, and on the feet was good too, and especially after knockout, he got knocked out from the Ilya and went there and performed on such a good level. I was shocked, to be honest. And like, but sometimes he fights bad, sometimes he fights good, but like I would say Oliveira.
Dana White has just confirmed that one of the bouts originally set for the historic UFC White House card on June 14th has been pulled. At a recent media session, White revealed the card has dropped from 6 fights down to 5, but he didn't name the canceled bout or explain why it fell through. The announcement immediately set off speculation online. The event was already a compact, high-stakes show with no room for filler, capped at roughly 4,000 fans due to the South Lawn's capacity. Losing a fight tightens things even further and raises questions about what's still intact. Adding fuel to the fire, a fan-recorded video from the UFC 326 ceremonial weigh-ins went viral on Twitter, showing Hunter Campbell in what looked like a tense conversation with matchmakers Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard on stage. The clip spread fast, with viewers zooming in and trying to read lips, convinced Campbell was delivering the news that a White House card fight had collapsed. None of it has been officially confirmed. Dana has stayed tight-lipped beyond saying the fight literally just fell out. Here's what he had to say.
I'll tell you guys something about the White House fight. So we've been working on this thing nonstop, and one of the fights literally just fell out when I walked in here. I think Hunter himself. I don't know. One of the fights fell off tonight. Brutal.
Sorry, Dana.
I'm hungover. I went out with Kid Rock last night. Bad idea. We drank a lot of whiskey. Big, bad-headed Dana White. Oh, fuck you! I'm too hungover to deal with these people tonight.
Bo Nickal is not lacking in confidence. He's now on record saying he beats Khamzat Chimaev in a pure wrestling match, no doubt about it. On a recent podcast, Bo laid it out plainly. He's completely certain he'd get the better of Chimaev if it came down to wrestling. When the host challenged him and pointed out that Khamzat is an absolute force of nature and that kind of certainty is unrealistic, Bo didn't back off. He doubled down. 101% confident, he said. Bo also made clear that in his view, he and Chimaev are in their own tier, the 2 best wrestlers currently competing in the UFC. He sees a matchup between the 2 as one of the most compelling fights that could happen in the octagon, and he's not shy about saying so. Here's the clip.
I believe 100% I'm winning that match.
Khamzat?
Yeah, for sure. But I think that...
You can't be 100%. That guy's a monster.
He is a monster.
All right, 101%. That's the
lowest I'll go. But have you seen him?
Yeah.
What makes you
so I watch a ton of film on him.
And what do you think? Why are you so confident?
It has nothing to do with him. It just has to do with my belief in myself.
This is the one everyone's been waiting for. MMA-Fighting's Jed Meshew dropped the bombshell on Submission Radio. Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira is confirmed as the main event for the UFC White House card on June 14th. Meshew said he's heard it from multiple sources. The heavyweight super fight is locked in as the headliner for the historic South Lawn event. He was less certain on the co-main, but floated Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev as a strong candidate given the cross-division interest and Makhachev's recent calls for big-name opponents. On the main event, Meshew was clear. It's Jones versus Pereira, likely for a vacant or interim heavyweight title depending on where Tom Aspinall's eye recovery stands. This is the fight months of build-up have been pointing to. Pereira vacated his light heavyweight belt to chase gold at heavyweight. Jones came out of retirement to campaign for the White House spot. Dana White has called it a dream matchup, despite a complicated history with Jones. With the card already short by design due to limited capacity, this heavyweight collision is the perfect main event for America's 250th anniversary celebration. Here's Jed Meshew breaking it all down on Submission Radio.
Main event is Jon Jones, Alex Pereira. I feel none of this is, oh, the UFC and Tom Aspinall are going to come to amicable terms and work fruitfully for a long period of time after this. No, this to me feels like a fundamentally broken relationship that ends in tears now or tears later, but tears nonetheless. The co-main, I am much less sure. I said earlier today on Between the Links, and maybe the co-main is they do it. They do the thing everybody wanted all last year and is still technically on offer, and they do Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria for the welterweight belt. It would be chaotic and terrible, and I have for a long time thought that Ian Machado Gary seems to be having the inside track for a welterweight title fight, but I just visualized them announcing Gary versus Islam and the collective whatever that the fan base would have to that fight being booked.
Tom Aspinall has responded to the Jones-Pereira news, and he had nothing but praise. In a recent interview, Tom called Pereira a generational talent and said the fight is fantastic, one every UFC fan will want to see. He made it clear that regardless of his own situation, this is a massive matchup for the sport. Aspinall remains on the shelf recovering from bilateral eye injuries suffered in his fight with Cyril Gane, which ended in a no contest. He's been vocal about wanting to return and reclaim his heavyweight title, but with Jones-Pereira now set, likely for a vacant or interim belt, the division is moving forward without him while he heals. Tom took the news in stride. Here's what he had to say.
For Tom, it's looking likely that Alex Pereira will be moving up to heavyweight to fight Jon Jones at the White House. Firstly, what do you make of Alex Pereira moving into the division? And secondly, what is your opinion on that fight should it take place?
I think Alex Pereira is a generational talent. I think he's one of the best UFC fighters that the UFC's ever seen, to be honest with you. I think he's fantastic, and I think it's a very interesting fight. I think everybody who's a UFC fan will be tuning in. I think it's a great fight.
That's it from MMA Time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA updates.